my personal 10 favorite movies of 2018. Number 10 is Overlord. Now, I'm beginning this list with possibly the movie that is getting the least attention from people, but I faintly find it to be more deserving because it's a war zombie film that happens to deliver on both genres. It takes a while for the zombies to be introduced in the film, but I don't have a problem with that because build-up is good, and when the zombies does appear in the last half hour, the action is pretty bloody satisfying. Now my number 9 is A Star Is Born. Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, they have great chemistry and they do a really good job portraying a romance about two sinners who is trying to have the breakthrough. And the film has a lot of like ups and downs, and yeah, it is the hype is real. My number 8 is First Man. Now, out of probably all the movies on this list, this is the one I wanted to see the most because this is by Damien Chazelle, who directed Whiplash, where I really like, and La La Land, where I just absolutely adore. And I'm glad to say that he has written Christian Tales. This film is about Neil Armstrong who tries to go to the moon, but what I appreciate most about this movie is how it kind of breaks away from the tone of all the aerospace movies. It's not so much like feel good, but his direction places you inside of the spaceship and you really feel the claustrophobic and the uneasy nature. It emphasizes the danger, what I so appreciate. My number 7 is Sorry to Bother You. And this is possibly the weirdest movie on this list. This is an indie that tackles pretty like big themes like capitalism, selling out, and socialism, but it has a lot of black comedy and energy to it, which prevents it from being boring or forgettable. And the ending is truly a WTF moment. My number this is A Quiet Place. Now, this movie is also really unique because of how there's not any dialogue that is spoken in the movie at all. The entire film is conveyed between characters with sign language. But beyond beyond that, which can sound like a neat gimmick, it really doesn't rely on that. It also has really suspenseful scenes, and you really do warm up and care about the family that is under attack from these monsters. My number 5 is Free Solo. Now, this is the only documentary on my list, but it truly deserves to be on there because it tackles a man who attempts a really extraordinary goal of climbing a 7,000-foot mountain in California with no rope, nothing attached to him. So if he falls, he's dead. And I just love the balls that he had in doing this, and just that it's strange. He talks in the documentary, he did not die, but you're still script during the 20 minutes when they just have it happen. So yeah, I definitely recommend this documentary. Now we'll really get into the real shit of this list. The last 4 here really lit a fire under my ass. I am extremely enthusiastic about all of these. My number 4 is Bad Times at the El Royale. This movie is about 7 strangers who all have things to hide, who meets at a motel, and you just see, like, I love above all, the thing I love is I love how the way the film is constructed. How I just love how twisted the film is, both the characters and the way the narrative develops, and just the back and forth between the characters and the editing is just so good. I bought it, and yeah, I definitely recommend that gem. My number 3 is Mission Impossible Fallout. This is easily the best pro action film of the real, and one of the best of the decade. And how, just in terms of like pro stunts, some of the most literal jaw-dropping stunts I have ever seen in a film ever. Tom Cruise, he is just a maniac. He puts his life on the line making all these movies, and I cannot get enough of it. Whenever if I were to shoot a action movie, I would always love to do practical, and this movie is just a adrenaline rush. My number 2 is Avengers: Infinity War. Now, this movie I would say is just epic. First of all, I love how many characters is in the film, and how since it literally takes place over a universe, how big the film is. But beyond just the scope, I just love how, for one thing, we have the best villain of the real in Thanos, and you even get that menace from the beginning. And I love how for this is, even though this is done by Marvel, and Marvel is known for more typical fun movies, this film goes dark, and I so like the movie for that. It has scenes of sacrifice that are extremely effective, and the ending is the climax is tied for my favorite ending of the reel. The L one that is tied just leads me into my number 1. My number 1, my favorite movie of the reel is Annihilation. Out of all the films on this list, this is the one that I wish the most I would have directed myself, because of how I have been a fan of like horror and sci-fi my entire life. Those are my 2 favorite genres, and to see a film tackles like both of them and do both extremely well, I just really appreciate how it tackles, you get the best of both worlds. You get the sci-fi, which is just great, food for thought, but then you get horror, where more than any other genre I would say really affects your body. It's very visceral, and this movie is just so effective. And yes, these are my 10 favorite movies of the reel. Thank you for watching, and before you go, please don't forget to either like, comment, or subscribe. Thank you. See you later.